everyone, and welcome to Once Upon a Storybook. My name is Cynthia with Cynthia's Joyful Creations, and we are continuing to look at stories, true stories, of heavenly guardians from the book In the Arms of Angels by Joan Wester Anderson. And today's story is entitled The Man in White. If we could be as little children are, we would probably see angels all the time too. Teresa Kroger Johnson, De Quincy, Louisiana. Wars create hardships not only for members of the military, but for those left behind as well. During World War II, Americans endured food rationing, shortages of necessary products, and a lack of medical care. Many wives of servicemen, especially those who were expecting babies, moved in with their parents so they would not be alone when their delivery time came, especially in case a physician was unavailable. Mona West Barnes was one of these women. During the time her husband Harold was in the Navy, Mona and their two little boys, 4-year-old Harold Jr., nicknamed Tootie, and 2-year-old Larry, lived with Mona's parents on their ranch in Placerville, California. It made for a crowded household since Mona's younger brother Everett and sister Vesta were still at home too. But Mona's mother and Vesta helped Mona care for the toddlers, which was a great help. Harold had returned from the war, and now the couple awaited the birth of a new baby. Although Harold had a job at the local sawmill, housing was almost impossible to find, so Mona and Harold had decided to wait until after the baby was born to look for a place of their own. The closest hospital was more than 50 miles away, so Mona and her doctor prepared for a home birth. Mona's physician, Dr. Jean, had delivered Larry and was one of the few who made house calls. One stormy afternoon she returned from a doctor's appointment. Mona's labor began in earnest. Her mother called Dr. Jean's office several times, but the doctor did not return the calls. Later, the West discovered that Dr. Jean never received the messages. With the cold and miserable rain pouring down and concern mounting, Harold and Everett left for Dr. Jean's office. Shortly thereafter, the electricity went out. This was pretty common during storms, Mona says. Our ranch was the farthest point from the electric cables, so it usually went out here first. Her father got busy lighting candles, and her mother fed the little boys and got them ready for bed. Despite the upsets in their lives this past year, Tootie and Larry had adjusted well. However, much of their security probably depended on the routines being the same from day to day. Mona's nightly ritual was to put them to bed, tell them a story, bring them a final drink of water, and hear their prayers. That night, however, Mona's mother took over, since Mona was otherwise occupied. The boys were not happy about that. "I love you," Mona called from her bedroom next door to theirs. "Mommy, come!" Both boys seemed upset. Mona believed that one didn't explain labor pains to toddlers. "I can't, sweethearts. Go to sleep." Eventually, they settled, but at about 2 o'clock in the morning, the storm intensified. Harold and Everett had not come home, and the pounding thunder and lightning flashes awakened the boys again. They were terrified. "Mommy, Mommy," they cried. During storms, Mona would go to soothe them and sing a lullaby. Now she was in hard labor. "God, don't let them be afraid," she prayed through the pains. "Let someone comfort them." But the boys fretted and fussed and kept calling to her. They asked for water. When nobody answered, both began crying very hard. Mona felt like weeping too. Her babies needed her. She wanted to go and comfort them and bring glasses of water to them, but she couldn't. Her father was tending fires in the wood stove and the fireplace and lighting in the Her father was tending fires in the wood stove and the fireplace and lighting candles and the kerosene lamp. Her mother was getting things ready for Dr. Jean. Would she ever come? Where were Harold and Everett? Mona asked her 12-year-old sister for help. "Vesta, go take the boys some water, please. See if you can calm them down." Vesta was happy to help. A few moments after she left Mona's side, the boys stopped crying. Thank you, God. They must be asleep. The entire house seemed to be hushed now. Moments passed, then Vesta came back into the bedroom. She wore an awestruck expression, and she seemed almost glowing in the dim, candlelit bedroom. How odd. Are the boys okay? Asked Mona. They had water already, Vesta told her. How? Who gave it to them, Mom? Mom's in the kitchen. They said the man in white gave it to them. But, Mona panted through the next pain, and then argued, Vesta, you know no one has driven up our hill. We would know if we had company. What are you talking about? Vesta stuck to her story. All I know is they said the man in white gave them a drink and they were staring over my shoulder like they could see someone. I looked around, but I couldn't see anyone. But Mona, the room. It was bright and kind of shiny. Mona was uneasy. The family never locked their doors. What if a prowler had gotten in and was now hiding in her son's room? As Vesta went to the kitchen to heat water, Mona's father finished the fires and lamps and came to sit with Mona. Dad, she whispered between pains, please go check on the boys. Mona, they're fine. I can't hear a peep. Dad, please, just do it. A father didn't argue with a daughter about to give birth. When he returned, he wore a dazed look and a glow very much like Vesta's. Dad, are they all right? Mona asked. Yes, I guess so. Did you give them a drink of water? They didn't need it. But Dad, they asked for water. I'm telling you, they didn't need it. Her father was obviously disturbed. Dad, what happened? Mona's father swallowed several times. When I went into their bedroom, he said slowly, it was lit up brighter than any light bulb. But Mona, there's no electricity on in the house. The room was lit up? Mona glanced around at her own darkened surroundings. Again, she seemed to sense a holy hush. Yes, it was so bright. Then I noticed that the boys had an enthralled look on their faces, and they were staring at the other door. They each had a glass of water in their hands. I asked Tootie where they'd gotten the water, and he paused again and swallowed. Yes? Well, Tootie said that the man in white gave it to them. He told us to stop crying because it was upsetting Mama, and she needed all of her strength. The man in white said to be real quiet and go back to sleep, and in the morning we would have a baby sister, and we could see our Mama. Mona and her father looked at each other. Slowly they were beginning to understand. Had she not asked for comfort? Not for herself, but for her little ones, at the very beginning of the night? Had she not asked that someone take care of their needs as well as hers? Why should she be so surprised when heaven said yes? Harold, Everett, and Dr. Jean did not arrive on time. The car had gone off the road into a ditch in those curving mountainous roads, and after freeing it, the men had gotten lost. So as dawn arrived, Mona's mother delivered her new grandchild. And a few hours later, just as the man in white had promised the little boys, they got to see their mother and meet their baby sister for the first time. Ultimately, Mona's marriage failed, and for many years she was a single mother. Numerous difficulties awaited her before she began to reap the rewards of her spiritual faith. But when life seemed grim, she would often remember that stormy night when an angel came to show her that she would never, ever be alone. Whew. As always, I have goosebumps after that. And I normally don't share with y'all how it affects me, but that was a beautiful story. Wow. The Man in White. Well, thank you again for joining me for Once Upon a Storybook. This has been another great story, and as always, I cannot wait to hear what one we're going to hear next week. So until then, you guys, be joyful and stay safe, and I will see you again next week. Bye.